Plague Dr. Pin seems strangely appropriate, doesn't it? At any rate, welcome to Tibalt's Apprentice, Luck of the Draw. We have a special episode today. Special for a couple of reasons. Well, for one, you'll notice that we're not filming at the Game Hub in Manhattan Beach where we normally do. Encourage you to support local game stores more than ever when it's encouraged that we go back out into society. At this point, we're being encouraged to stay home and, well, making the best of a bad situation. That means more arena. Thinking along those lines, drafting is something that you might want to try. If you haven't played with that format or aren't familiar with it, well, you're in luck. Today's episode, I am joined by Seth from Mountain Man Magic, and we scratch the surface of draft, what it entails, what to look for, and I encourage you obviously to go to Mountain Man Magic and check out his videos and his draft guides on the current sets. You know, why am I wasting time talking about this? Let's just get into the episode. So today on Tibalt's Apprentice, I am joined by Seth of Mountain Man Magic. So really quick, I'm just going to say the way that I came across your channel was this. I never look at sets before they come out because I always, in the back of my mind, and this comes from growing up 25 years of playing Magic and stuff, I couldn't always afford the cards. I don't care what the cards are or what's in there until I get them in my hands. Then I can hold them, then I can do something with them, and then I can worry about it. That's worked fine for me for a quarter of a century. Until I started this channel and Wizards of the Coast said, hey, you want to draft a set?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, sure, now what do I do? Oh my gosh, I have no idea. So I had a great time drafting Theros Beyond Death, but I did it terribly. And I said, I'm never going to let this happen to me again. So let me get online. Let me see what I can find as far as a guide for drafting decks. And I was lucky enough to come across your channel.
That's good to hear.
So with that, I'm just going to say, just jump right into it. My first question being, what is the first thing you need to think about or know when you're going to draft a set?
Yeah, and thank you just for having me on. It's good to be able to chat with you and get to know you a bit better.
Thank you.
But yeah, when it comes to me, when I'm starting to draft, if I do know the set, like a newer set that I've done a guide for, I've just been able to play with, the first thing I like to know are what are the most dominant bombs in the set. Because everyone, Limited is largely focused on winning through card advantage. And if you can come up with cards that either get you ahead on board because they're too difficult for your opponent to deal with one card, or they're able to close out a game quickly, to me the bombs are where you can really find that good value. And then when you're struggling to find the bomb, assuming you don't open up, that killer card right away, which I feel like I rarely do. I feel like my wife has the luck of the gods, so to speak, in that regard.
Okay.
But if I can't find the bomb right away, then I'm definitely just looking for removal. I love to jam as much removal as possible into my deck because if I can't find a bomb, at least I can make sure I can remove my opponents and then try and find some clever lines of play to get ahead, whether it's in the mid or late game.
So then the first thing you're going to do in any set is look for removal, first of all, primarily.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So getting into that then, what outside sources are there, or what do you consider when you sit down to draft? And is there a difference between arena and paper?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a difference just because on arena you're drafting with bots versus in person. You're drafting with hopefully friends or just acquaintances at your LGS, or in my case, it's right here in this basement with our buddies. We just buy a box, crack it with everyone, and just have a good time.
Nice.
With my group of friends, you kind of know who's always looking to play blue-white flyers, and actually that seems to be me more often than I care to admit. I just, for whatever reason, I just have that tendency to go in that direction. I've got a friend who I swear will always draft black no matter what the set is, if there's a good archetype around it or not. They just seem to always end up in like black red, black white. That's just their go-to. So in the back of my mind, I'm trying to think, if they're to my left, I can probably get into those colors, but if they're not, I just assume they're going to be cutting it. But generally, I'm trying to not read into stuff too much and more just read the cards that are being passed to me. But when I'm drafting on Arena, that's probably the area I'll look for the most input in to just get a better understanding. I'll go on Reddit, I'll look at other forums and just see what people are saying that the bots are over or under drafting if I'm trying to climb the ranks a little bit. Because there's definitely a tendency where you can take advantage of that, and I'm not sure, if you're competitive or not when you're drafting on Arena, but I feel like that's probably the best place where you can take advantage of information outside the game into the draft and actually use it while drafting.
Okay. This is kind of a tangent then from what I was initially asking then. So, because I'm not that familiar with Arena, I've jumped on it, I've played it for a while and stuff now, but what does it mean that you're drafting against a bot? Yeah,
so on Arena, when you and I would go to an LGS and we draft there, you're drafting with human people who are weighing pros and cons, drafting whatever's to their strength. When you're drafting on Arena, they've created bots for the other 7 people in your pod. Now, they've tried to give those bots, as I understand it, personalities or a focus in each draft.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm imagining they go off some algorithm. So it's probably weighing and grading the cards based on what the bots already picked to decide or determine what they would pick in the draft, as the packs are circulating the players. But instead of it necessarily always being done by a logical person who I'm assuming can hold on to other information as the draft's happening and pick cards that are either advantageous for them or not so good for the opponents that they're going to play with those same cards. The bots are just drafting whatever's best in that moment. I'm guessing in more of a silo with less focus on the context of the cards I'm seeing are the cards I'm also going to be playing against. So not to say that every person's always holding on to all that information, but it's a little bit different just seeing how people draft for their benefit versus how I'm assuming a bot drafts based on the algorithm that they're programmed to follow.
Okay. In my case, I know that I am absolutely guilty of drafting for rares.
Yeah.
Every time I go, and it's a terrible, bad habit to be in, but you can almost guarantee that the first 3 pulls are I'm going to grab the rare, I'm going to grab the 2 uncommons, and then go from there and then worry about my deck afterwards.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I don't win a lot. So with the so here's another side point before I move on to the next one. Sorry, I know
that's fine.
Distracted, or at least I would by it.
Well, like even with the bots though, you'll see ridiculous cards passed. Like I've seen a Tezzeret 4th pick when it was like M19 or M20.
Oh man,
everyone Tezzeret was in. And if it was my pod of friends, no matter who opens a Planeswalker, they're taking that as the first pick. You know what I mean? Sometimes the bots pass ridiculously powerful cards that they shouldn't. So it gives you a strange power level at times.
It does. Okay, so it definitely works that out.
Yeah.
Well, actually, let me ask you the next question then. So moving on to this, then I've heard you say in the past that you love limited.
Yeah,
I think I got that quote right.
Yeah, yeah.
Tell me about that as opposed to the other formats. I mean, is it above the others, or just it's one of your favorites?
Limited to me is heads and tails the best format to play Magic, and I think it's just because it's the full Magic experience. You get to open packs, unless it's on Arena, right? But you still get to open their version of packs.
Sure.
You get to open packs, pick cards, build a deck, and then play it. So it's the entire Magic experience. And I feel like the more you play Constructed or a format like that, the more jaded we get towards the cards we see. Like you open a pack and people rush to the rare. They don't even look at the commons or uncommons unless there happens to be that, chase one in there, right?
Yes, charge, sure.
Yeah, everything just gets thrown to the side and you're like, is this rare playable or worth something or going into a deck I'm already building? No, great. Wasted $4, moving on to the next one.
Right.
And to me, that's a bummer. Like, younger me would be screaming from the rooftops about how excited they were just to open any pack, and build those cards. And I just remembered when I first started playing, whatever pack I got, I would open and I would just trudge through each card. I would look at every one, the art, just memorize its power, the flavor text, all of it. I just really enjoyed the cards and then trying to come up with some reason to use them. Build a deck, it wasn't good. I could guarantee you all my early decks were terrible, but I wanted to play with them because I was like, these cards are the ones I have. Let's use them.
Right.
And Limited forces you to do that. You can't just go on and net deck something and copy paste it into Arena. You can't build that same, or you don't have the same connection to the cards
Right.
that you do in Constructed that you do for Limited. And to me, it also shows your ability to be a good Magic player in the moment of, especially if it's drafting, even sealed, but even especially when it's drafting, of understanding where you're going to be the best, understanding what's the best for your chair, and because it's always focused on card advantage and really trying to take advantage of those minute decisions that you make that can make a big impact on the match you're in. You know, I feel like it tests your ability to play Magic at as high a level as any.
Gotcha. So along those lines, and this isn't something I'd written down, but another question then is, how much emphasis do you put on the keywords or the strategies that are built into the set, or do you just look at arguably the meta game of Magic when you're draft or when you're preparing for a draft?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a good question in that I don't know what the answer would necessarily be all the time. If it's, I'm trying to think, wasn't Guilds of Ravnica? Was Guilds of Ravnica Dimir?
Yes.
Yes. And yeah, you had the seeded pre-release kits. And in my mind, anything that helps get card advantage in Limited is going to be above average in strength. So I think that's why, if I remember correctly, the two LGSs I went for different pre-release events, everyone wanted to be Dimir, unless they just hated blue, you know, for whatever reason.
Sure.
Everyone wanted to be Dimir because they just knew Surveil would be good. And it turns out that it was still really good, unless you had some busted card pool. I played one guy who was on the Selesnya train, and he pulled 2 Multanis. So you can Surveil as much as you want, but when someone plays Multani, and then you exile it, and then they play their second Multani, you're not going to win that game, ever.
No.
There's just no getting away from it.
Ouch.
But that was a set where really I think having that outside knowledge and getting to pick the seeded packs and know what the mechanics were and the abilities of the set could really be used to your advantage. Now, I feel like now with there being so much more information, and I'm kind of with you, like you said earlier, I just showed up, I played with whatever cards I opened and just kind of went with it. I didn't really worry about knowing the set and knowing every good card in it.
Right.
And to me, I wish we could kind of go back to that where you don't know. You don't even have the ability to know because it's all about, like, it's a pre-release. This is for everyone to learn at the same time what's so exciting about the set.
Right.
So in some ways, I think it kind of spoils it that we have the full card list and people like myself are putting guides out as quickly as possible to spoil it for people and get them informed.
Well,
but
for those of us that are out here and stuff, since the genie is already, or the genie's already out of the bottle at this point, I'm certainly glad that you're there. Along that line, I want to ask you a little bit more. Tell me about Mountain Man Magic. How did that start, and who helps you?
Yeah, so with the channel, I was just looking for a hobby. Like, I'm someone who enjoys working, and I didn't want to spend all my time at work, though. I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I'd just gotten back into D&D. I was living in Ohio, which actually has LGSs and gaming scenes. And my wife and I moved out to Jackson, Wyoming, which does not have an LGS or much of a gaming scene. So I just happened to run into people, though, that were out here. They wanted to play D&D. The bug, I got the bug. I was reinvigorated by my love of role-playing and playing Magic. And my wife didn't realize how much of a nerd I really was. Like, how much, I mean, you can see, like, Magic cards.
Sure.
Over there is Magic cards. Over there, D&D books and Magic cards.
Gotcha.
You know, like, it's everywhere. So yeah, I was like, I need to have some purpose to this. And I feel like it's something that I've always been interested in. I never watched content on YouTube until I started getting back into it. And then when I started looking at other YouTubers, I thought there's definitely something here that I can do in my own way that I feel adds benefit to the community. So I'm going to keep doing it and just see where it goes from there. And I think my email is 1 booster a day. And my first channel idea was to justify why I'm buying booster boxes. I'm going to open one of these boosters a day and make a video about it and try and be funny or have some skit that goes with it. And I did that, and I got up to like 10 subscribers and felt like, all right, I must be doing something right. But then I also realized it took me way too long to get 10 subscribers, and that I needed to just do something different, as well as be more myself, you know, just being the guy with my literal iPhone propped up on like 2 booster boxes with a rubber band holding it in place, hitting record, and then hitting upload. And like, there was no editing. There was nothing. It was just a 5 to 7 minute straight clip of whatever I was doing in front of me with my hands. You know, I was like, I can do better than this. And it just kind of turned into this thing. But I realized, like, 1 booster a day is kind of a weird channel name. and my wife and I were kind of chewing on ideas. I was just throwing ones out there, and I thought, well, we live in Jackson, right by the Teton Mountains. I thought, let's just go with Mountain Man Magic. She said she liked it. That's all I needed. We just ran with it.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I've got to say, since I've come across your channel, I've enjoyed all the videos that you put out. But like I said, it was the drafting ones that brought me into it for sure. And
I appreciate that.
I love that. You said you've got your wife that helps you. I appreciate that. My wife helps me as much as she can, and often with lots of advice and lots of help throughout. Just even finding memes or whatever to put on Facebook and so on. But what other projects might you have and stuff?
Projects like in regards to making content?
Making content or anything else, coming up for Mountain Man Magic.
I'm trying to get some more video essay videos done. Like right now, I feel like there's a need to get a video out every week. And just with my schedule, it's hard for me to get one out every week that's video essay focused. Mm-hmm. But I also just enjoy talking about what's going on in Magic. So it's not like I feel like I'm not able to put that content out that I want. Mm-hmm. But that's my new focus. So if you're a fan of the channel at all, prepare to see hopefully more of my artsy side and my video essay chops, because I love going down that road of nostalgia, memory lane, so to speak, and drumming up those old early Magic memories to share with the world. And I think I have an exciting project coming in the near future. So that's what I got coming down the pike. Okay, something to look forward to. I know in one of your videos, I don't know exactly which one, I know that you said you like to write and so on. So I'm looking forward to what you have coming up and stuff then. So I know I've got a folder full of videos that I've yet to make. Yeah. Well, I know this has been brief and stuff, but I absolutely want to thank you for coming on here and sharing your time with us and some of your insights. I'd love to have you on again and maybe talk about maybe some more on drafting and maybe just some more other Magic topics and stuff coming up here. For sure. Yeah, and if I can just end with, limited to me is like a skill. Like it's something that you have to do to get better at. You can memorize every card, have that all figured out, but there's a skill to just kind of feeling the draft, like feeling like you're in the zone, able to find what colors are open, what cards you need to fill out that draft deck to have the right curve, to have the right, whether you need to be really aggressive in this set or you can play for the slower game. And I feel like that skill is something that people can get frustrated when trying to grow because they're so fixated on the win or loss. And that's something that just in general, especially when you're starting off in Magic, you can't fixate on the win or loss. You got to realize, did I play this as perfectly as possible? Because that's going to help you become a better player down the road and inevitably enjoy the game more. Because even if you lose, you can say, hey, that was a really good play, as opposed to getting frustrated because you didn't make the right play. You know what I mean? Absolutely. Fixating on the mana issues that we all run into and we all think we're the only ones, myself included. Absolutely. But yeah, drafting, I love it. I think it's a great way to learn the game, share the game, just enjoy the game at its best. Absolutely, absolutely. That's one of the things that we've talked about a few times on my channel here is the fact that while I love Arena for a lot of reasons, the win-loss is a lot of times the only focus there because it doesn't have that interaction. I was lucky enough to have a friend of mine who lives cross country, lives in Chicago, sat down and learn the game from me from watching my content, and he's helped me immensely throughout this, this whole process of putting this channel together and such, and continues to do that on a regular basis. I'm absolutely grateful for that. But we finally sat down over Discord because it was something else that was new to me, and we played a game being able to actually talk to each other and interact instead of just on Arena and stuff. And I felt like so much better. It's so much better. Like it opened up just a whole new world of possibility as far as what could be done and how his enjoyment was. And I'm thinking to myself, I've been lucky enough to have this experience all along. Arena is something new to me and so on. So I think it's great that Arena is there to get people in, and these limited formats are there for them to enjoy. But nothing is going to compete with the actual sitting down at a table with people. And even if you do lose and stuff, you had a great night with friends. How was that a loss? Yeah, no, exactly. And I don't think that's lost on anyone. I just hope that it's more of a focus where people realize if you're sitting down to play Arena, to me, it's like it just scratches that itch for you until you get the real thing. Exactly. Because even if you're having a night of just losing, if you're just losing on Arena, you're not going to come back to it. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to throw it to the side, and you'll come back to it when you don't have another good option. Right. Absolutely. But if I know my friends are available to play a game of Magic, I'm down for it. Win or lose, whatever's happened, to me, that's what makes the game so special, is that the gathering part. You know, as cheesy and as cliche as it sounds at this point,
Definitely.
that's the part that really sets Magic apart from other games and any other platform, you know, outside of the tabletop, so to speak.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, really quick then, or not really quick, where or how do people get in contact with you? Obviously, I've talked about your YouTube channel, Mountain Man Magic. Do you have any other platforms or any other ways of getting in touch with you, or any other places you put your content?
Yeah, I usually check Twitter. I'm usually on there just out of necessity, and I seldom tweet myself, but that's usually a way that if someone wants to get in contact with me, Twitter's a great way.
Okay.
Facebook, I don't really check it. I have a page. I'll occasionally throw posts up there. And then Patreon, of course, is another place to check me out at.
Sure.
And I'm always trying to chat with my patrons in our Discord channel. Have a good time there.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much for joining me, Seth. I really appreciate this, and this has been great. I hope we can do it again.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks, Michael.